Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So this figure in front of us is Spider-Woman. So I'm going to come in close so you can take a good look. And that's a nice looking figure, I have to say. When I was in my local toy outlet where I acquire most of my figures from, McFarlane's and Marvel Legends and Black Series Star Wars, I was seeing this figure for some time, and then she dropped down in price, and I was debating whether or not to pick her up because I really thought it was a good looking figure. And as you can see on the packaging, she is from that traditional comic book world, and I quite like the way this comes across. But there were about 4 of them, and bit by bit they went down to just the one figure, and this is a figure normally retailing between 25 and 28 quid, but this figure is one of my cheapest requisitions, was £5.99, and at that price I'm not going to turn it down. I'm not sure what she's all about, because I remember her as a kid in the comics. I don't know if she ever teamed up with Spider-Man, or she was a bit of a naughty girl like the Catwoman figure in the Batman world, and she kind of had her issues with Spider-Man, but had to have her at that price. And as you can see, she is very articulate and poseable. You can get that pose, and she does do a few poses on one leg without the DC stand, but I thought just for filming purposes it's easier just to keep her like this. So you're going to see her today alongside a couple of the Spider-Men in my collection. Well, all of them, because I don't collect a lot. I just collect the things I like. I don't go for too many variants, although I've broken that rule with my Batman figures and my Superman figure. But I'll pose her with some Spider-Men and see what that looks like. So let's start the ball rolling. So here's the first one. Okay, this is what I thought at the time was Peter Parker, but it's not. And this was the very first Spider-Man I got, because in my hometown couldn't get one anywhere except for the toy looking ones, and I wanted more of a figure with a bit more substance to it. And I love this figure's colours. Very comic book, but it's not Spider-Man. Apparently Dr. Doom made a clone out of Spider-Man's DNA and got this version, which is supposed to be evil. But in my imagination, because I like the look of him, he does have a very Spider-Man look. Obviously it's just the colour applications on this are different. He's my Peter Parker in another world. So he poses well. He's got a couple of gesture hands, fighting fists, web shooting hands. So that's supposed to be, I think, Billy Riley. Anyway, let's get to her again. I've just turned her position slightly. I love the colours. It's a simple way the colours are put together, and I really like it. And there's a figure I've got that I'm going to put on film with this figure, because I like the idea of the 2 figures I've got. Well, I'm going to pose this figure, I'm not going to say what it is, next to Spider-Woman, and I think their combinations look really good. But there's a bit of a hiccup, so I won't tell you till I get to it. So that's the first Spider-Man. So here's your second Spider-Man here. And I think this was my second purchase after the one you've just seen, the Billy Riley one. And I bought him obviously because he's got the Spider-Man look. And he's very poseable, as you can see there. And I've posed out Spider-Woman differently. Oh, and I forgot to show you, those are the fighting fists she comes with. You'll see them later. So that's her done with that Spider-Man. Let's bring on the next. So this is your Peter Parker Spider-Man. You may have seen him recently when I reviewed him, and he's from the film Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I won't say any more about him because I did a lot of that when I had him on camera last time. But I like his Spidey pose, and I've got Spiderwoman into another pose. Now, interestingly enough, when I was in the shop buying this thing, this character is called Jessica Drew, and according to the back of the card, she's been enhanced genetically to have spider powers. Now, there was a Jessica Drew from this Spider-Man's world, Across the Spider-Verse, and that superhero is a black woman with a really jazzy hairstyle, and I really like that figure. And she was only $5.99, but I had to make a choice, and I thought Jessica Drew from the Spider-Verse world always pops up, but this one until recently popped up, then went down in price, and I got the last one, and I thought this is the sort of thing that might not come back again, so I've got her for that reason and that reason alone. So let's move on to the next one. So here's the the final one, but I've got one more figure to come out. But that's your Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Very similar pose to the one you just seen with Across the Spider-Verse Spider-Man, but I love him, and you've seen him on camera already, so let's go to this pose. Always like to get my figures onto the one knee pose, or even the two knee pose, and when they can do that, I know they're fairly articulate, so that looks quite good with them like that. Even though technically for me they don't match in my imagination, I think the closest one to that was the first two Spider-Men you saw on the camera. So that's that one done. So let's bring up the special guest star and tell you a bit more about why I've chosen this figure to be posed next to Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman. So this is the little special guest star, and let's come in on him first, and that is Damian Wayne. My favourite, and I mean this, my favourite figure of this type. By that, he's not a big figure in my collection, he's not very tall, but in terms of his size, his articulation, his paint application, the personality that comes across on this figure, I really like it, and it's one of my favourites, and I've yet to review him properly, showing him in all his dynamic poses, because he can do martial arts kicks on one leg. He's a really good figure. But for ages, and I think I've been doing it recently when I've been reviewing things to do with Batman, I've been thinking of him as Dick Grayson, which in my mind he could be a Dick Grayson. He's got a boyish look, but he's actually Damian Wayne. And let's come over to Drew, and Spider-Woman there now has the fighting fists in, and before I got her on camera I posed her with a combination of the fighting fists and the other hands you've just seen, but at the end of the day I put these two together because coming in close on Damian Wayne, if you can see that face and the kind of mask thing he's got around his eyes, it's kind of reminds me of Jessica Drew, and I like the way those two look together. But we know that Damian Wayne is from DC and Jessica is from Marvel. It's still something I might do, which is to pose them next to each other, so I have to think about that. But before I leave you, I'm going to show you one more thing. Now, why have I started with this first? Well, why I started with this is because this is the female Silver Surfer that I got cheap for $7.99, and I've made my comments on this figure. I like it. It's kind of similar to the film, but it should never have been a female Silver Surfer. It should have been Norrin Rad, the original Silver Surfer. But she's on camera because she was on a diorama, and since I've been posing out Silver Surfer and loads of images have been creeping into my mind, I finally came up with this last and final pose, and it'll be left this way for a couple of months at least, because I've taken her diorama and put it with Silver Surfer. So I will show you that now as we go upwards and onwards onto the platform. And there's her diorama, and there he is. And I'm so pleased with that, because thanks to my mate telling me about the new Hot Toys one that's come in and the Hammer of Thor element, I just got into this. So I like this, and now with that diorama I'll come in close on it. That's supposed to be a representation of flames, because the female Silver Surfer was up in space with Galactus, and the Fantastic Four had to go up there and kind of negotiate with him, but it failed and she got knocked into a pool of flames. So that's what that diorama is. But on Silver Surfer here, it completes the look and the pose, and I'm very happy with it. So there's just one more bit I've got to show you, and then we'll call it a day. So this is the last segment of this review. It's just a quick one on these guys, because I've posed them all out differently and I've moved them around, I've taken things out, and I'm just going to show you what I've quickly done. Everything you see has been reposed. So we've got Red Skull, behind him Vision, and behind Vision we've got Eddie the Hood with the two hand pistols. I'll put Doc Ock at the back, and you've got my Thor variant at the back there. I'll see if we can get a better close-up. This is Blade, of course, Domino from Deadpool 2. That's a new pose. Yet to put a new head sculpt on. And of course there's my Blade, love him. And then we've got Deadpool behind him. And then of course coming up to Hulkbuster, and I'll put him more centre to the platform and straighten them out a little bit. Then we've got Iron Man, and I love this Iron Man, but I've acquired another Iron Man that is up there as one of my favourites, and that's that guy. $14.99 he was, and worth every penny of it. So we come back down to the front of the section and moving along, you got Ghost Rider there on one knee with two weapons from the McFarlane's accessory pack. I'll put a bit of a flame effect around him, and there's your Mystique or Raven, however you want to refer to as. Got to review her at some point. And there's the Logan with a new head sculpt. And I love that look, I really do. And he's on a diorama there. And then we've got Katana from Suicide Squad 1. I did say she was from Suicide Squad 2, but that's me getting into things. Behind her, we've got Madam Hydra, and there's Wolverine with his new head sculpt, and there's futuristic Cyclops. So if I come back, just to show you that look, move it along. Not a bad section there. See if we can get down to the back of the display to get a look at these guys. And you can just about make out Thor there, and Maggot from the X-Men world, and that's Sabretooth, the brother of Wolverine. And there is Venom, and behind him I've got a Batman figure. We've got Red Skull there, and then we're back to the front again. So moving along, I'm quite pleased with the overall effect. The only thing I wanted to do was keep my Doc Ock at the front, but needs must. He's had his time at the front, but I stuck him there. You can still see him, but that's the way he looks on camera. So guys, I'll say thanks for watching the channel. I'll come back to Hulkbuster and Hulkbuster and the Iron Man, should I say, and say thanks for watching the channel. I like doing that bit on Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman. It was a bargain at $5.99 and I enjoyed posing her next to the other Spider-Men. But I think she's going to be posed next to Damian Wayne, because I do like that look, even though he's from DC and she's from Marvel. Another close-up of these two. Okay, let's bring it onto that angle there. So on that note, I'll say thanks for watching the channel. See you again next time. I forgot to do these two, and that's why I'm back now. So sorry about that. Rather than do them individually, I'll put them both together. Miles Morales Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen, and there's Jessica Drew Spider-Woman at the back there. So that's them two. At least I got that out of the way. And before I do really end it, I'm going to bring back all the other Spider-Man figures plus Damian Wayne, just to show you collectively what they all look like. So here they all are, back for the final time. I'll come up the top first. Didn't want to overcrowd the platform, so we've got Tom Holland, Spider-Man, in that spider pose, sitting atop. Let's just imagine a building. Always works for me, and I do like that. So we're coming down to the main section of the figures you've seen today being posed out with Jessica Drew, Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman, and I quite like how they look collectively. Maybe the case that I might have to display them all together, but for now, right now in my mind, I'm going to pose her with Damian Wayne from the DC world, and I've given you my reasons why. So that is it at last. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. I know I have, because I think they all work well together with her on the whole. But what I'm pleased about is that I like her a lot more than I thought, and I'll come in close on her one last time. Very articulate, nice look to the figure, and a bargain at $5.99. So on that note, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.